Why did the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ married Aisha at the age of 9? And can one use this example to marry young girls?
Remember how Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6 years old? Well, let me tell you a little secret.
There is not an out of doubt as far as the age of Aisha.
It's not true.
Is not an out of doubt.
Yes, the same time in the Bible, according to the Bible, Isaac got married to Rebecca. He was 40 and she was 3 years old.
So why he got Aisha, we don't know that, because where did the order come from? Hello. Allahu Akbar. So the kafir, the non-Muslim, who's not able to understand and recognize they between the sky and the earth, they suspended because what?
Aisha was the favorite of Prophet Muhammad's wives. He married her when she was 6 to 7 years old and consummated the marriage when she was 9. Want me to prove it to you? Here we go. So the Quran isn't fully detailed how Muslims claim it to be. So they resort into something called the Hadith to confirm a lot of the stuff that's written in the Quran. Hear me out real quick. So here's the Hadith. This is a Muslim source written by a Muslim.
Did you know that the claim about Aisha's age at marriage might have been fabricated for political and sectarian motives? Let's break this down with evidence from an Oxford study. The claim that Aisha was 6 at betrothal and 9 at consummation comes from a hadith attributed to her. But according to Oxford scholar Joshua Little, this report is a historical fabrication.
Do you want to know a shocking truth? Girls as young as 7 years old could legally marry in the US with parental consent. In history, early marriages existed across the world. But what did they really mean? Let's explore the truth. In pre-modern societies, early marriages arrangements were widespread, but they weren't always as we imagine today. Betrothals always occurred in childhood, while consummation was delayed until physical and emotional maturity. For example, in medieval Europe, King Richard II of England married Isabella of Valois when she was just 6 years old. But their marriage wasn't consummated until years later. Similarly, Saint Augustine, one of Christians' most celebrated figures, was once engaged to a 10-year-old girl. These practices reflected the social and cultural norms of the time. Even as recently as the 19th century, such norms persisted in Western societies. In Delaware, for example, the minimum marriage age was 7 years old with parental consent until 1929. These laws might shock us today, but they show us how different historical attitudes towards marriage were. This wasn't unique to Europe or the United States. In 7th century Arabia, early marriage were common, often for tribal alliances or family security. However, consummation is delayed until puberty, when the girl is considered physical and emotionally ready. These practices reflected the practical realities of societies focused on survival and communal ties, where marriages was family or tribal decisions, not solely a practical one. Let's now address the marriage of Prophet Muhammad to Aisha radiallahu anha. Critics often single out this, but his marriage fits perfectly within these cultural norms. Marriage was arranged when she was young, but it was consummated later when Aisha reached maturity. In the context of 7th century Arabian society, this was not unusual and was widely accepted. Aisha was not just a wife, she was a scholar, leader, and teacher. She narrated over 2,000 hadith, making her one of Islam's greatest contributors to its intellectual and spiritual legacy. Far from being oppressed, Aisha herself described her marriage as loving and respectful. She played a pivotal role in shaping Islamic teachings and remains a towering figure in history. The first recorded Western criticism of the Prophet's marriage emerged in 1905 with the writings of British historian David Samuel Margolis. This indicates a span of approximately 1,273 years, during which this aspect of the Prophet's life was not a focal point of critique in Western discourse. So why is this criticized today? Many apply modern standards to historical practices while ignoring similar norms in their own histories. Selective focus of Prophet Muhammad's marriage to Aisha reflects more bias than genuine historical truth. Understanding requires context and honesty instead of judging the past by today's standard. So let's approach it with clarity. If you found this explanation insightful, kindly like and share it so others could know about this misconception about Prophet Muhammad marriage. Thank you for watching.